All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're back on the docket for the afternoon. We're going to start with the first appearance docket first. For those of you who have an attorney, if you have a private attorney, that person will speak on your behalf in the courtroom. If you're represented by the Public Defender's Office, we have an attorney from the Public Defender's Office in the courtroom, and we have an attorney from the Public Defender's Office over at the main jail. I have reviewed the probable cause affidavit, and so unless there is some argument as to finding probable cause, we'll have that discussion, but then the next thing we'll determine is release conditions. For some of you, if there are misdemeanor cases, you may be able to resolve those cases today. So I'm going to start with Bryant, now I've covered up the last name, Mohns, Mohns.
He's here. Judge approaching.
5 and 10. Frankly, if you want to R1, 1 and 4, I'm fine with that for a bond of $20,000. No contest.
He's here.
Oh, Mr. Mohns, you're before the court today for, it looks like 3 counts of out-of-county hold, and then count 4 is an out-of-state hold. So those are all no bond holds. And you should be going before the extradition court next Tuesday or Thursday. And then the other matters are out of Palm Beach. There's Palm Beach and Flagler. Good luck, sir. What is that? Okay.
No, we're starting.
Jaleesa Roman,
She's here, present, main judge. She's approaching. Come on up, ma'am.
Ms. Roman, you're before the court for a misdemeanor capias matter. And the court does find probable cause. What does Ms. Roman wish to do?
Judge, we're going to be seeing if the state has a plea offer on this misdemeanor possession of cannabis offense.
All right, the offer is withholding court costs.
She wishes to accept the state's offer, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Roman, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can put your hand down, ma'am. Do you need more time to speak with your attorney?
No. You said if I need to do what would I have to pay? Just
Court costs.
how much is that?
Court costs, I believe, on a possession of cannabis, maybe 308.
308.
300?
$308.
Judge, you may inquire again. I believe she just had a question about court costs. I answered her question. I don't think she needs to talk to me anymore.
Okay. Are you under the influence of drugs or alcohol today?
No, ma'am.
Is anyone forcing you to resolve your case?
No.
You understand you have the right to go to trial. By taking a plea today, you're giving up that right.
Yes.
And do you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, that by taking a plea, it could subject you to immigration changes?
Yes, ma'am.
What plea do you wish to enter, Ms. Roman?
No content?
I accept your no contest plea. I find that it's freely and voluntarily given. Your sentence is a withhold adjudication and court costs. I'll give you 6 months to pay the court costs. Good luck, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Jonica Hall.
Ms. Hall, come on up, please.
Ms. Hall, you're before the court today for a violation of misdemeanor probation, and count 2 is a traffic capias matter. Count 1 is a no bond hold, and there's a $250 bond on count 2. But my notes also indicate that you should be going before your division judge tomorrow. So you'll be able to talk to your judge tomorrow. Good luck. Jennifer Meyer,
North Broward.
bonded.
Yes,
Or
Judge, I
is
spoke
she-
with
is
Miss
she
Meyer's
there?
mother. She's there. I spoke with Miss Meyer's mother, and she indicated to me that Miss Meyer's bond has been posted.
All right. All right, Ms. Meyer, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, you're before the court for count 1, possession of alprazolam, count 2, possession of buprenorphine, count 3, failure to register motor vehicle, and count 4, attaching a license plate not assigned. I do find probable cause, and also I've been informed that your bond has been posted. Good luck, ma'am.
Thank you.
Martin Puckett.
He's here.
Mr. Puckett, good afternoon. You have one civil writ for support payment, which is not for magistrate, and then count 2 is a misdemeanor KPS for driving while license suspended. I do find probable cause. What does Mr. Puckett wish to do?
Nothing at this time. Judge's wife is going to be posting his bond.
All right. Good luck, sir. Travis Williams.
He's approaching here at Maine.
Mr. Williams, you're before the court for 1 count of petty theft, 2nd degree, and 2 possession of cannabis 20 grams or less. The court does find probable cause. What does Mr. Williams wish to do?
Judge and speaking, Mr. Williams, he wishes to resolve this case today.
Does the state have an offer for Mr. Williams?
No, first of all, there's restitution. Second of all, Your Honor, he was ROR and has a pending case from last month, literally doing the same exact thing, going to a different business, in that case stealing $60 from their tip jar, and when he was arrested, he had cannabis in his possession.
In that case, Judge, would the court consider an ROR on the cannabis offense?
And then we wait for the third time?
No, his bond is $100. I'm going to leave that in place at this time. Good luck, Mr. Williams. Donald Peebles,
Conti, Your Honor.
okay. Oh,
Hello.
I didn't see you there, Mr. McLaren. Good afternoon, Mr. Peebles. Pebbles, he says. All right, Mr. Pebbles, you have a misdemeanor capious matter before the court today, and it's for sleeping on the beach. What does Mr. Pebbles wish to do?
Judge, he would like to resolve this case.
All right, Mr. Pebbles, if you wish to resolve the case, the offer is withhold adjudication and court costs. Is that what you wish to do?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down. Is anyone forcing you to resolve your case today?
No, ma'am.
Do you need more time to speak with your attorney?
I believe we resolved it between
Okay.
the two of us.
All right, are you under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
Never.
Have you ever been treated for mental or emotional illness?
No.
And
Ma'am.
do you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, that by taking a plea could subject you to immigration changes?
Yes, ma'am.
What plea do you wish to enter, sir?
No contest?
I accept your no contest plea, find that it's freely and voluntarily given, and your sentence, sir, will be a withhold adjudication and court costs.
Judge, how long did you give him to pay the court costs?
6 months.
6 months, okay.
6 months to pay the court costs.
All right.
And don't go back to the beach and sleep on the beach.
No, ma'am.
All right.
Mr. Pebbles, I'll see you at community court next week.
Okay.
All right. Leroy Phillips.
Mr. Leroy Phillips is here at Maine, Judge?
Mr. Phillips has 2 misdemeanor capious matters for the court today for expired driver's license and driving a license suspended. What does Mr. Phillips wish to do?
Judge, my understanding, he's been in here since February 18th. He was being held on a felony driving offense. He managed to contact his, I guess, the only person that could post his bond, and actually posted his bond. This has since popped up, and now from what he advised me, there's nobody else that can afford to post this monetary bond. He missed court. My understanding in speaking with Mr. Phillips, he believes that the court date that he missed is when he was sick and hospitalized. Judge, considering he's already bonded out on a felony driving offense, Judge, I'm going to ask the court at this time to consider an ROR on his behalf.
All right, I'll ROR Mr. Phillips on these charges. Good luck, sir. Javante August,
Mr. August is here present, Judge. He advises he has private counsel.
he
And I think-
does. He does, and he's here. We'll recall it.
Oh, have a seat. Your attorney's getting
His
ready.
attorney's asking for it to be recalled. Thanks. Timothy Bell,
He bonded, Judge.
okay? How about Cedric Hill?
He's here at Main, Judge.
Mr. Hill is before the court for robbery. And the court does find probable cause. As the parties wish to be heard as to bond.
Yes, Your Honor, if I may approach.
Sure.
Your Honor, the state is going to be requesting a $75,000 bond, pretrial release of the GPS monitor level 1. As you can see, and it's referenced in the new police report, Mr. Hill was just arrested over the weekend for, I wouldn't even say similar, I would say the exact same robbery, type of robbery, just a different location. He posted a $25,000 bond and was released on Monday. Within 24 hours, he's going to a different store committing the same exact robbery. I wasn't here over the weekend, so I read the report. When he was apprehended by law enforcement, he was adamant that he was so apologetic that he's never done anything like this before. And then he's committing the same exact offense, terrorizing a store employee, putting them in fear for their life, and that he possibly has a firearm and could cause serious bodily harm, if not death, if they don't comply with his demands. Based on these, I think the
He's
bond.
been in, this one he's been magistrated on.
He was, Your Honor, he was charged with robbery firearm. Judge Murphy did not find probable cause, and frankly, it looks like it's gonna end up being an attempted strong arm robbery. My understanding of the case law, because there wasn't an actual firearm seen. That being said, but he did, set a $25,000 bond that was posted before we could come back for the perfection.
So this is, before you came back for the perfection?
Judge Murphy gave 48 hours on Sunday. He posted the bond and was released on Monday. So we didn't come back on Tuesday.
Okay.
But I believe the bond I'm requesting and other conditions are necessary because I don't know any other conditions of release that can ensure that he will not commit a robbery in the community.
I'm sorry, you,
Detective DeCintio, ma'am.
okay. And you're here just in case we need you?
Detective DeCintio authored the probable cause affidavit investigating.
No, I see that.
Yeah, he's just here for concern. I
Okay.
spoke with him this morning, and that's why he just wanted to be present before the court today.
All right, Mr. Romero?
Judge, 75,000 is something Mr. Hill doesn't have. Right now, he's looking for work. He lives with his mom. His mom does work for the post office. So now I do not believe she'll be able to come up with the $75,000, which the state is suggesting. We're not against having Mr. Hill supervise. We're just asking at this time if the court could set a more reasonable bond as far as a financial amount. He's 22 years old, been here his whole entire life. And I believe prior to these incidents, the last time he was in trouble was about a couple years ago, Judge.
All right, well, based on what's before me this afternoon, Mr. Hill was arrested on February 16th, posted a bond for $25,000. And on February 19th, he's back before the court. I find that a reasonable bond at this time is $75,000, and if he's able to post his bond, he's gonna be on a level 2 GPS. Good luck, sir. Julio Hurtado, thank you.
Judge.
Mr. Hurtado is approaching, Judge.
Mr. Hurtado, you're before the court this afternoon for one count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. The court does find probable cause, as the parties wish to be heard as to bond.
Your Honor, one moment.
Judge, while the state is looking right now, Mr. Hurtado is 59 years old. He's been here for the past 4 years. At this time, he's not working. He rents a room in Miami, Judge. So, Judge, right now there are not much financial resources available to Mr. Hurtado. I just ask you to take that into consideration in determining reasonable release conditions.
He rents a room. Well, the probable cause affidavit says he's the landlord.
He's not, no.
Your Honor, I imagine that will work itself out. That being said, I'm going to be requesting a $10,000 bond on count one. One, I would note, based on the allegations, it would appear that there is strong evidence against Mr. Hurtado. A witness observed the incident. Law enforcement located the knife that he threatened the victim with, and it was identified by the victim. And then ultimately, when Mr. Milligan was apprehended, he was hiding behind a neighbor's fence under vegetation in the neighbor's backyard. He also has a pending trespass and resisting without violence and a pending DUI with property damage. Would request orders of no victim contact and no possession of any weapons.
All right, based on this affidavit that's before me, it says that he's the landlord renting to the alleged victim. So, I do find probable cause, and, I am going to impose a bond of $10,000, no victim contact, and no weapons. Good luck, sir. Aaron Collier,
Mr. Collier's approaching. Come on up, sir.
Mr. Collier is before the court for one count of possession of cocaine and 2 possession of cannabis 20 grams or less. I do find probable cause. What does Mr. Collier, does the parties wish to be heard as to bond?
Not at this time, Judge.
All right, so Mr. Collier,
One moment, Judge.
okay?
Nothing at the,
All right, Mr. Collier's, bond is $1,000. Good luck, sir. How about Shamar Nelson?
bonded.
How about Dalton Fisher?
Here at Maine approaching.
Mr. Fisher, you're before the court for one count of grand theft, 2 dealing in stolen property, 3 grand theft, and 4 false owner info for pawn items. And the court does find probable cause, as the parties wish to be heard as to bond.
Judge, I believe these are not in custody cases. When were the alleged date of incidents on this case?
January 3rd, 2018.
That's what I thought. Judge, at this time, Mr. Fisher, he is on probation here in Broward County. He was placed on probation 8 months ago, so this was prior to him being on probation. He is being supervised where he reports on a basis. At this time, from what Mr. Fisher is saying, he has a good rapport with his probation officer. There's been no violation of probations, considering at this time that he is currently being supervised here in Broward County. Judge, Mr. Fisher is asking the court to consider an ROR on his behalf.
All right, I do find probable cause. I'll ROR him on those counts. Good luck, sir.
Your Honor, if it please the court, I think we can proceed with Mr. August's case.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, State. Jonathan Jordan on behalf of Mr. August, who's in custody present on closed
Okay.
circuit television. Judge, we have a stipulation as to bond on each count.
Okay.
Okay, count one will be ROR, count two will be total bond of $5,000, count three, total bond of $5,000, count four will be total bond $1,000, and count five, total bond of $7,500. Mr. August is not to possess any firearms or dangerous weapons, and a no contact order will be entered against the victim in this case, which we stipulate to.
All right.
We'd like him to stay away from my client as well.
Okay. All right, so Mr. August, you are before the court today for one count of improper exhibition of a firearm or dangerous weapon, 2, discharging a firearm from a vehicle, 3, throwing a missile into a vehicle, 4, carrying a concealed firearm, and 5 is aggravated assault with deadly weapon without intent to kill. I do find probable cause, and based on the agreements between your attorney and the state, count 1 will be ROR. Counts 2 and 3 will be $5,000 bond. Count 4 is 1,000, and count 5 is 7,500.
Judge, if I can have the court's indulgence for 30 seconds.
Okay, hold on.
Yes.
No victim contact and no firearm or no weapon or firearm, all right? Yes, sir.
Judge, my client has no criminal history whatsoever. He's working full-time, minding his business. The victim sought him out in this case. I only bring this up, Judge. Yesterday was a long day for Mr. August and myself. He voluntarily went. I met with him at Florida Highway Patrol Station. Detectives that were investigating the case gave me their word, if we came in and surrendered and gave a statement, that they would look into justifiable use of force in this case. I pleaded with them at the conclusion of a statement to allow me to submit memorandum to them. I asked them to consult with the state attorney's office before taking him into custody. They denied both of those requests. So I didn't sleep last night. I know Mr. August didn't either. Disappointed with Florida Highway Patrol in this particular case, but I do thank the state attorney's office for considering safe conditions for release for Mr. August. We obviously look forward to fighting it in court, but wanted to express my frustration on behalf of Mr. August, that's all.
All right, good luck.
Thank you for hearing me out, Judge. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Same here.
Take care.
Jay Taylor.
He's approaching, Judge. He declined the service of public defense. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Taylor, you're before the court today for one count of possession of cocaine, 2 is possession of drug paraphernalia, and 3 is driving while license suspended. It looks like it's your third or subsequent offense.
Yes, Your Honor.
The court does find probable cause. And your bond on count 1 is $1,000, count 2 is $100, and count 3 is $750.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck, sir. Peter Zangi. Mr. Zangi, you're before the court for, count one is panhandling, and the second count is a felony violation of probation, which is a no bond hold. The bond on the first count is $25, but also my notes indicate that you should be before your felony division judge tomorrow at 9 a.m. I will leave the bond in place as to count one. Good luck, sir. Oh, there's one from. And then-
Judge,
Yes.
on Judge, Mr. Zengi, the first count is I believe, a panhandling offense.
Yes,
Judge, would you consider an ROR on that count, so if his judge lets him go tomorrow, he can
that's fine.
be released? Thank you.
And then this morning we had Ja'Cory Rowe. Is he in this afternoon? I think they were just leaving it on to see if he made it back. He was in court this morning.
Who'd you call you on? I'm sorry.
Ja'Cory Rowe?
Disregard. Was he at Maine, or?
No, I don't know. No, he was in court. I thought he was in court this morning.
It was different name, but they responded that he was in court. They said that he was in court.
Right. All right, I'll reset it till tomorrow. I had concerns that he would be back for the afternoon, but we'll reset him for tomorrow. All right, let's go to we can go to the felony hearing docket. I think we have El Jus Lucent.
Conte, Judge?
See.
Mr. Lucent?
He's coming, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Lucent was arrested on January 19th. So he's here for a 30-day motion for ROR.
Yes, ma'am. And the information has not been filed. He is entitled to release at this time.
All right, Mr. Lucent, the state has not yet filed the charges. You've been in custody 30 days or more than 30 days, so I'm gonna grant a ROR at this time. It does not mean that the state cannot file the charges, so you need to pay attention to your mail to make sure that you know whether they file the charges, and if they file the charges, when you have to come to court. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good luck, sir.
Okay.
Alex Butsisink,
Your Honor, this is a moot issue. The state declined charges, and he's been released from custody.
okay. Timothy Mackey,
Conti, Your Honor.
so this one, okay. They've declined charges, so he's out. He's already out of custody.
Conti, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Timothy Mackey,
I just need a moment, Judge.
Mr. Mackey was arrested on January 21st.
Yes, Your Honor, today is the 31st day.
Yes,
I'm going to ask that this matter be reset for Monday, since the 33rd day would fall on a Saturday. Pursuant to the rules of procedure and computing time, if the 33rd day or the decisive day falls on either a holiday or a weekend, it is to be set to the next business day.
all right, so Mr. Mackey will be back, well, somebody will put it back on the docket on Monday. All right, sir, there's no action today. Jamal Long,
Judge, how you doing? Mr. Long's here, main judge. Hello, how you doing?
hi, Mr. Long, I'm okay. Mr. Long was before the court on February 17th. So this is a second look?
That is correct, Judge. It's $1,000 bond on a possession of MDMA. Judge, from what Mr. Long advised me, his financial circumstances hasn't changed. He's homeless. He does have an address that he could use, it would be of his grandmother to get future court notices. But right now, there's no one that can afford to post his bond, so I'm gonna be asking the court to consider releasing Mr. Long on standard pretrial release. And Judge, I realize that, Mr. State's gonna bring up his priors, but this is a drug offense, and also, we wouldn't object if the court also wanted to order, random drug testing, imposed on this case, Judge.
Your Honor, the reason that I'd bring up his record, and I believe this is what the court considered, it's a lot of things very recently. Trespass last month, trespass end of last year, possession of cocaine last year, 364 days, theft last year, resisting without violence, carrying concealed weapon last year.
All right, I will, release Mr. Long to level 2. It's gonna be level 2, the GPS.
Judge, on a level
He
2,
has
he's
what?
homeless.
He has no residence?
No, he was homeless, Judge, he has a mailing address of his grandmother that he can use to get court. And that's why I was asking for standard pretrial with, random drug testing.
I can do it, Judge.
No, then I'm gonna deny that and just leave the bond in place at this time. Brett Whitcomb?
He's here.
Okay, Mr. Whitcomb, was arrested on the 17th, and so he's back for a second look. For his bond
Felony
status.
driving, $750 bond, Judge. We're gonna be asking for the court to consider releasing him on standard pretrial release.
All right, I'll grant the standard pretrial release for Mr. Whitcomb. Good luck, sir. Gerald Fuentes? Gerald Fuentes.
He's here present, Judge Amin.
Mr. Fuentes has never alleged.
Fuentes has $1,000 bond. What was his priors?
He is out right now on a pending possession of cocaine and cannabis. And second. He was on pretrial in that case, and he failed to comply with pretrial. He failed to call in to the person that was supervising him, and his present whereabouts were unknown by pretrial. So Judge Fine set the bonds on that case. He was picked up on the warrant in December, posted the bond. He's also got a possession of cocaine 2017, uttering a forged instrument, grand theft 2014, cocaine 2013. alprazolam, 2013, possession of cocaine and alprazolam and cannabis with intent to sell, deliver, 2013, possession of cocaine, DUI, 2013. Frankly, considering that this arrest is a violation of his release conditions and that he's already shown he cannot comply with pretrial, I'd ask that the bond be kept in place.
All right, at this time, I'm not going to make any changes to the bond. The bond is $1,000. Good luck, sir. Keith Grayley,
If he posted.
Mr. Grayley posted his bond. Daryl Dumas,
Approaching, he's here at Main Judge.
Ask him about the.
He,
Dumas.
you're ready, Judge.
What was Mr. Dumas' priors?
He's, actually, he had a pending case, and his bond has been surrendered since his arrest for one case of grand theft auto and a second case of grand theft. So in addition to these three charges, he has $3,000 in additional bond. And apparently his bondsman does not consider him a good risk because he surrendered his bonds.
Was the bond surrendered?
I'm sorry?
Do you have the date when the bond was surrendered?
I don't, confinement status might have the date, exact date when it was surrendered.
All right, I'm going to deny any changes at this time. The bond will.
Judge, we're gonna be requesting a phone order.
Sure. I'll sign that. Stephen Gaffney? All right, Mr. Gaffney's got a petty theft. His bond is.
Judge, he's being held on a felony petty theft, $750. His wife is right now in the hospital and can't afford to post his monetary bond. They live locally here in Davie, so we're going to be asking the court to consider releasing him on pretrial release.
The issue is he's already out on another felony theft, and 2 counts of grand theft. He's out on a $3,000 worth of bond before Judge Shear. The state has already filed notice to have him declared a habitual offender in that case. And prior to that case, he's had, let's see, in 2005, 2 counts of battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting with violence, tampering with evidence, aggravated fleeing and eluding. He was sentenced to just under 10 years in state prison as a habitual offender and PRR offender. In the mid-90s, he was sentenced to 10 years state prison on a burglary of a dwelling and grand theft, 10 years on a dealing in stolen property, 5 years burglary structure, 10 years on burglary dwelling and dealing in stolen property, 10 years on 4 other burglary dwellings, 5 years on another burglary of a structure, 10 years on possession of firearm by a convicted felon. In the early 90s, 3 years on a burglary of a structure and grand theft, a year and a half on 2 attempted burglaries of structures, and a burglary of a structure, possession of burglary tools, and grand theft.
At this time, I'm going to deny any request for changes. Mr. Gaffney's bond is $750. Barry Felder?
Mr. Felder appeared before you on perfection yesterday. The original PC didn't mention anything about his prior convictions. I provided you with the certified copies. You were also advised at that time that pretrial had prepared a warrant before his assigned judge. The judge signed that warrant, and he's now being held no bond on the other pending case.
Okay, so I'll make no changes at this time on this case. Good luck, Mr.
I'll get a hold of
Felder.
Miss Monahan for you, Mr. Foley.
One more second. Just wanna make sure.
Somebody's got a mic on.
All right, main
What's your
jail.
Oh, shoot.
Can we turn off the mic at the main jail?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we can hear.
All right, so Mr. Felder was brought before the court today for a second look on, his bond status on this petty theft. It's a felony petty theft. I've been informed, maybe Mr. Linder, you can say what you said before.
Sure. Your Honor, pretrial, he was out on pretrial on another case. Pretrial prepared a warrant and brought it to his assigned judge yesterday. The judge signed the warrant and ordered him to be held no bond on that case.
So based on all the circumstances, I will not make any change as to the bond on this case at this time. Good luck, sir. Carrie Willis,
Conti, Your Honor.
thank you.
Your Honor, kept the bonds at 1,000 each on each charge. I'm looking at the probable cause affidavit. It mentions that there were allegations that he threatened someone with a gun, stating, "I'll kill you." When the firearm was located, I would also note there was a magazine that was fully loaded with hollow point rounds, and one bullet in the chamber. Yes.
Mr. Willis's bond has been posted.
Could use that information.
All right, so there's nothing for me to do at this point. Your bond has been posted, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Elisa Murphy,
Hold on, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this is a second look on multiple counts of Bat Leo, resisting with violence, resisting without violence. I imagine you'll remember the allegations. There were allegations of punching, kicking, spitting, biting, urinating on one of the officers.
Miss Murphy's not going to be able to post any kind of a bond, monetarily wise, since she's been in custody. She's been in contact with her mother and her grandmother, and they have invited her to live with them. So if she was released on pretrial release, which is what I'm asking the court to do, I don't believe she has any priors whatsoever, Judge. If the court releases her on pretrial release, she does have a stable residence to go to. And I think she'd be a lot better off with her mom. I think that'll be a big improvement for Miss Murphy. And certainly she's, I don't believe, a flight risk. I think she's been living here pretty much all of her life. Is that the Hollywood address, Miss Murphy?
Excuse me?
Is that address in Hollywood where you'd be staying?
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale? Okay. So I have her mom's phone number and her grandmother's phone number, and we can make arrangements for her to stay there. I know it's bad. I know. I remember the probable cause affidavit from the other day, and I
Yeah.
read it today too.
I
But you know, I
And the
mean,
one,
it's
and the one thing that wasn't even brought up, this whole situation didn't even involve her. It was a traffic stop of someone else, I believe her boyfriend, where she drove to the scene, had no business even being there.
right,
I think she gets that, Judge. I think she understands
that was my concern. She invited herself into this situation based on the allegations, and then it just escalated. I'm not gonna change the bond status at this time.
All right. All right, good luck, Miss Murphy. I'll call your grandmother for you.
John Watson,
He's approaching, Judge. He's here at Maine.
Afternoon, how you doing, Your Honor?
I'm okay, Mr. Watson.
Call Brian for me on that phone.
I have to read these things all over again.
I think this was more of a Grant, well, let me make sure. If I say anything. Yeah, this was a grand theft auto. I mean, they charges grand theft between $20,000 and $100,000. And I don't know what the value of the vehicle was, but at the end of the day, it's a grand theft auto. And you had ROR'd Mr. Watson to pretrial release with the GPS monitor, I believe.
That's correct, Judge.
She's not-
Hold on.
Lee Watson. We left messages yesterday and today, and this morning we submitted a request to our field unit to actually go to the residence located on 22nd Avenue, to which he claims that he reside.
And, Your Honor, I don't know if you still have if you have the booking sheet. I believe one of the court's concerns was just the amount of aliases he's had. I don't know if it was him or someone else, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I do remember this, and, I released him to pretrial. He's gotta find a place, or give an address that they can verify.
And right now we just sent
Judge, this is the situation. He lives with his father. His father unfortunately suffered from throat cancer and basically has to, in order to use the phone, uses some sort of instrument to communicate. But from what Mr. Watson advised me, his father is working still. He works in landscaping. He basically works the whole time, so he's not really there to answer the phone. Judge, when speaking with Mr. Watson, I haven't had an opportunity to review the PC affidavit. I don't know if at the end of the day, he advised me, I believe he was the backseat passenger. I don't know if maybe with that information, this might not be filed as a grand theft auto, but having spoken to Mr. Watson right now, he just wants to be there, he's going through a lot right now. My understanding is he's enrolled in some programs.
Yes, I'm in Workforce One. I have to do recertification. I got a program I go through with Workforce One on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm with Life for Net, formerly the co-op. I ain't been doing anything like on the level like that, Your Honor, since I've been out. I work every day with labor finders, and I donate plasma with CSL and all that stuff to try to just keep myself afloat until I do my online application process with the work tax credit form.
Well, that's not the issue. I gave him pretrial release. I'm not gonna ROR him, so,
Well, no, you gave it level 2 pretrial release.
well, that's
We're
what.
asking for pretrial,
Well,
standard.
I'm gonna leave it at the level 2. Pretrial is gonna send out a field officer, and the allegation that he was just a backseat driver, based on the allegations, he was the one who stole the car. He's a backseat driver because he asked the other person to drive the car. That's what the report is stating. So I put him on level 2. I'm not gonna make any changes at this time. Good luck, sir.
Your Honor, it appeared that I just didn't return the car. The car wasn't returned.
Don't talk to me about the facts of the case.
Father is in a condition where his fiance, she in and out of ICU. And he can't really talk, so he might not answer this phone, and then he come home when it's dark. So they might not catch him.
They are going to send someone else, sir.
In the evening time, Judge?
That's what I'm saying, they might not catch him at home.
Mr. Romero, I have made a decision, and I don't find these sarcastic comments that's gonna help.
It's not sarcastic,
They
Judge.
might not catch him home,
Basically,
I'm saying, Your Honor.
I mean, maybe they should have tried and verified this much earlier. He's been in since the 18th. We're already here on Thursday, and now they're finally sending someone else out. And I remember I told the court that his father did suffer from some form of throat cancer, which it made it kind of hard for him to communicate through the phone. So maybe that should have been done initially as far as that, try and contact someone in person. That's why I'm
in the
asking.
program. I'm trying to do the program with the work. He can't really talk, Your Honor. I'm telling you the truth.
And I know the court's rule, I believe pretrial already did send someone out.
Okay. If they did, okay, thank you.
You know what the outcome was?
I know, and
They
but I
didn't.
wanted to put it, I know, I just wanted to put it out there because I heard you say it.
All right, we're moving to the misdemeanor docket.
Thank you, Judge.
Danny Custer. I'm sorry?
Yeah, Mr. Custer's
Mr.
here.
Cut, coming up.
Mr. Custer was arrested on, well, there are two cases on the docket.
Basically, what happened,
Correct.
Your Honor, if I may. He was originally arrested for a burglary and a criminal mischief. Your Honor placed him on pretrial. He was then arrested for the municipal ordinance that's before the court. When it was brought to your attention that he was on pretrial, you revoked the pretrial, ordered him to be held no bond on the burglary criminal mischief. Since then, the state has downfiled the burglary to trespass. So
Okay.
that's why he has the trespass and criminal mischief before the court.
Okay.
He's still, I'm sorry?
No, I said okay.
Okay, he's still being held no bond on those from your revocation. I really can't make an offer on the state charge because there's a criminal mischief attached at this point. I do believe, just checking to see, I know he has an arraignment date, I believe, before Judge Evans, and I'm just checking to see when that is. I'm sorry, Judge Carpenter-Toy. He's scheduled for an in-custody arraignment before Judge Carpenter-Toy next Wednesday.
All right, so we have the municipal ordinance case. That's not it. On the one that's before me today says intoxicating beverages. Is that the one that was downfiled, or that's something else that we're talking
That
about?
was the most recent arrest. That was the basis for the violating of pretrial.
Okay,
And that the pretrial case was the state charge.
all right. So on, he has court next week on the other case in front of Judge Toy?
On this, the 19-1885 MM10A, he's scheduled for arraignment. Let me check on the municipal ordinance case. He does not have a date set for that because a filing decision hasn't been made at this time. But certainly, if it is the court's intent that he go before Judge Carpenter-Toy on the state charge, you can ask the clerk to keep both cases together.
All right, can we do that? And then I'll ROR him on the cases, on both.
Well, then the only question with the clerk is are those dates gonna be kept? Because it was specifically scheduled as an in-custody arraignment.
Or was it?
Yeah, it was.
Can we keep those dates? All right.
And it's, February 27th.
Mr. Custer, I'm gonna release you on your own recognizance on these cases. You have court, though, that you must appear for on February 27th
At 9 a.m.
at 9 a.m.
Before Judge Carpenter-Toy.
on Judge Carpenter-Toy. Do you understand that, sir? So turn his mic on, please. Do you understand that, sir?
Do you understand?
Mr. Custer, you have to come back to court on February 27th,
Sure, ma'am.
okay? And your judge is Judge Carpenter-Toy.
Very well.
All right.
Toy. What time and what room number so I can write it down for him, Judge?
227-19 at 9 a.m.
Okay, here you go, sir. You're gonna be released. You have court, February 27th, Judge Carpenter-Toy at 9 a.m. If you don't show up there, there's gonna be a warrant issued for your arrest. Correct. Oh,
Morel Jones?
excuse me.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How you doing?
Good afternoon, Mr. Jones.
Your Honor, Mr. Jones, in addition to this case, was being held on a felony. He's state sentenced. So the only thing keeping him here is this charge. The state's offered being adjudication, time served if he wishes to resolve it.
He does.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Jones, please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down, sir. Do you understand everything that's going on here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone forcing you to resolve your case?
No, ma'am.
Are you Do you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, that by taking a plea could subject you to deportation or immigration changes?
Yes, ma'am.
What plea do you wish to enter, Mr. Jones?
No contest.
I accept your no contest plea and I find it freely and voluntarily given. I sentence you to adjudication and time served. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
And then we have Annabelle Rodriguez.
He's here, but he's gonna require Spanish interpreter. Spanish interpreter should be on their way.
It should
Okay.
be. I called.
All right, so we have to wait for the Spanish interpreter. Is there anyone else that we're missing?
That's it,
Okay.
as far as I know.
I don't know what we did with all of this. Sorry? Yes. We can go over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. No signed. This is the one for the back. So we already have it. This one is to leave it. Looks stinky, and we throw it away. And Marky. Where's Marky? Long. Nothing there either. This one was granted with the F for trial release. This one was denied.
You say I can't see you.
Denied. This orders. Let me check. This is the R1 from Mr. Costa from the misdemeanor docket. This is Andrew Xavier Johnson. We forgot to sign it from the 18th. All right. All right. But we're waiting on. Oh, some of this stuff.
You comment on it. Oh, definitely. I don't know who it was, but you went off. What's gonna happen? We're gonna get here when we get here. You know what the funny This guy. Kiefer. Yeah, but you want me to think this guy? Got an immigration hold put on him this morning. He's not going anywhere. That's kind of ridiculous. Straight away. There it is. See, you should.
Someone's here, never mind.
See, you shouldn't have even bothered.
Afternoon.
What? No.
Thank you for coming back.
Today.
Sir, affirm to translate from Spanish to English, English to Spanish.
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Moisés Hernández for the record.
Okay, Mr. Anibal Rodriguez.
Don Aníbal Rodríguez,
Mr. Rodriguez was arrested on February 17th,
arrestado el 17 de febrero,
and he's back today for a second look at his bond status.
regresa hoy por segunda vez para ver para una vista de fianza.
Okay, what does the parties wish to be heard?
Your Honor, I've been advised
Su señoría, se me ha dicho
that Mr. Rodriguez had an immigration hold placed on him this morning.
que esta mañana al señor Rodríguez le impusieron una orden de retención
He is currently
Por-
being held no bond.
por parte de las autoridades de migración y se le tiene detenido sin fianza.
Okay, then, so at this time, I will not make any changes.
Pues en este momento no haré cambio alguno.
All right, good luck, sir.
Buena suerte, caballero.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
That's fine.
Same judge. Have a nice evening, everyone.
I will.
Same to you.
In response, you told me to shut up.
Tomorrow from more exciting magistrate.
Tell Hector